We all have something powerful inside of us, a natural ability, a unique talent, or a certain way of thinking that sets us apart. This is your inner genius. It's the source of your potential, the key to unlocking success in every area of your life. But here's the thing, most people never truly tap into it. They struggle, chase after things that don't align with their true strengths, and wonder why success feels so out of reach. What if I told you that success doesn't have to be a constant struggle? What if you could reach your goals with less effort, without burning out or feeling overwhelmed? The truth is, when you align your actions with your inner genius, success becomes a natural byproduct. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. The journey to effortless success starts with understanding who you truly are, embracing your strengths, and making choices that support your authentic self. In this book, you'll learn how to recognize and unlock the power of your inner genius. You'll discover how to stop doubting yourself, how to take action that feels right, and how to create a life and career that not only brings you success, but also feels effortless. It's all about getting clear on what makes you unique and building from there. So if you're ready to stop feeling stuck, if you're tired of pushing through every obstacle without seeing the results you want, then this book is for you. Together we'll explore how your inner genius can guide you to a life of success that feels fulfilling and natural. You already have everything you need inside of you. It's time to unlock it and start your journey toward effortless success. Let's get started. Chapter 1. Discovering your inner genius. What if I told you that the key to your success has been with you all along? That the answers you've been searching for, the tools you need to thrive, are already a part of who you are. You don't need to be someone else or learn to fit into someone else's mold. You just need to uncover and embrace your inner genius. Your inner genius is not some mystical, unattainable force. It's the unique combination of talents, passions, and strengths that make you who you are. It's the way you approach problems, the ideas you bring to the table, and the things that light you up inside. It's there when you feel completely in the zone, when time seems to fly by, and when you're doing something that feels not just easy, but right. That's your inner genius at work. For years we've been conditioned to believe that success is about grinding, struggling, and hustling our way to the top. We hear phrases like, push through the pain and work harder than everyone else. But what if success isn't about pushing harder, but about aligning your efforts with what you're naturally good at? What if it's about finding the path that feels like yours, not someone else's? Self-awareness is the first step in discovering your inner genius. It's about getting curious about yourself and paying attention to the things that make you unique. Think about this for a moment. When was the last time you felt truly energized by something you were doing? What were you doing, and why did it feel so good? These moments aren't random. They're clues. They're your inner genius trying to get your attention. One of the biggest reasons people overlook their inner genius is because it often feels so natural to them. You might think, well, if it's easy for me, it must be easy for everyone. But that's not true. What's effortless for you can be extraordinary to someone else. The key is to recognize and value these gifts instead of dismissing them. For some people, the journey to discovering their inner genius begins with reflecting on the things they've always loved to do. Think back to your childhood. What activities made you lose track of time? Maybe you loved building forts, drawing, organizing games with friends, or writing stories. These childhood interests often hold the seeds of your true passions and talents. As we grow up, life can get noisy with responsibilities and expectations, and we sometimes lose touch with those early loves. But they're still there, waiting for you to rediscover them. Another way to uncover your genius is by paying attention to what other people notice about you. Think about the compliments you've received over the years. What do people consistently say you're good at? Maybe they tell you you're a great listener, that you have a knack for solving problems, or that your creativity is inspiring. These observations aren't coincidences, they're reflections of the unique qualities you bring to the world. Sometimes, the hardest part of this journey is silencing the doubts and fears that try to hold us back. It's easy to think, I'm not good enough, or who am I to follow my passions? But here's the truth, no one else has your exact combination of experiences, perspectives, and abilities. No one else can bring what you bring. The world doesn't need you to be perfect, it needs you to be authentic. Let's imagine for a moment what it would feel like to fully embrace your inner genius. Picture waking up every morning, feeling excited about the day ahead, because you're doing work that aligns with who you are. Imagine feeling confident in your abilities, knowing that you're making a meaningful impact in your own unique way. This isn't a fantasy, it's a real possibility when you commit to discovering and living in harmony with your inner genius. This journey isn't about making drastic changes overnight. It's about taking small, intentional steps toward understanding yourself better. Start by noticing the things that make you feel alive. Pay attention to the moments when you feel a sense of flow, when everything clicks and you're completely absorbed in what you're doing. Write these moments down. Reflect on them, they're pointing you toward your inner genius. It's also important to give yourself permission to explore. Sometimes we're so focused on doing things the right way that we forget to try new things and take risks. Experimenting with different activities, hobbies, and projects can help you uncover hidden talents and passions. It's okay if not everything works out. Every step you take is a step closer to understanding yourself. Chapter 2. The Myth of Hard Work. Hard work pays off. It's a mantra that's been drilled into us from a young age. The idea is simple. If you want to succeed, you need to put in relentless effort, sacrifice your time, and grind through obstacles. And sure, there's some truth to the value of persistence and dedication. But here's the thing no one talks about. Hard work for the sake of hard work is often overrated. It's not about how much effort you put in. It's about whether your efforts are aligned with who you are and what you're naturally good at. Think about the people who seem to achieve extraordinary success with what looks like minimal effort. We're quick to label them as lucky or gifted. But what if that's not the whole story? What if they've simply found a way to align their actions with their strengths? When you're in that alignment, things feel lighter. Opportunities flow. Success becomes less about brute force and more about finding the right rhythm. One of the biggest myths about success is that it requires suffering. Somewhere along the line, we equated effort with value, as though the harder we work, the more worthy we become. But let's pause for a second and rethink that idea. If you're climbing a mountain, does it make sense to take the steepest, rockiest path just because it's harder? Or would you choose the trail that's well-worn, the one that guides you smoothly to the top? The destination is the same, but the experience is entirely different. Why not choose the path that feels right for you? This isn't about being lazy or avoiding challenges. It's about being intentional. It's about asking yourself whether the effort you're putting in is actually moving you closer to your goals, or if it's just busy work disguised as progress. Think about the times in your life when things felt effortless. Maybe you were working on a project you loved, or you were helping a friend in a way that played to your strengths. In those moments, you weren't struggling or forcing things, you were in flow. That's what effortless success feels like. Let's take a closer look at some real examples. There's the entrepreneur who builds a thriving business, not by following every traditional rule, but by focusing on the one thing they do better than anyone else. There's the artist who creates masterpieces by leaning into their unique perspective rather than trying to mimic what's popular. There's the teacher who transforms lives by teaching in a way that feels authentic to them, not by sticking to a rigid curriculum. These people aren't cutting corners. They're playing to their strengths. They've discovered the power of working in alignment with their inner genius. So how do you start applying this to your own life? It begins with a shift in mindset. Stop glorifying struggle and start valuing alignment. Instead of asking, "How hard can I work?" ask, "How can I make this easier without losing impact?" Easier doesn't mean less meaningful. It means more aligned with your natural abilities and passions. When you focus on ease, you're not avoiding work. You're creating space for the kind of work that truly matters. Another important step is to let go of the comparison game. It's so easy to look at someone else's journey and think, "I should be doing what they're doing," but their path isn't your path. Your strengths, experiences, and passions are entirely unique to you. Trying to copy someone else's approach is like trying to wear a suit tailored for someone else. It might look okay, but it won't feel right. Instead, focus on what feels natural and exciting to you. That's where your power lies. There's also something liberating about giving yourself permission to succeed without unnecessary struggle. For so long, many of us have tied our worth to how much effort we put in. We've been taught to wear busyness as a badge of honor. But what if you could let that go? What if you could measure success not by how exhausted you feel at the end of the day, but by how fulfilled you are? Imagine the freedom in that. Imagine what it would feel like to wake up each morning with energy and purpose, because you're doing work that feels meaningful and aligned with who you are. As you move forward, start paying attention to the things that come naturally to you. Notice when you're in the zone, and when things feel easy and enjoyable. Those moments aren't coincidences, they're signals. They're showing you where your inner genius lies. And the more you lean into those strengths, the more effortless success becomes. This is your invitation to rethink everything you've been taught about hard work and success. You don't have to prove your worth through struggle. You don't have to take the steepest path just because it's harder. You have a choice. You can choose alignment. You can choose ease. Chapter 3. Understanding your strengths. Most people spend their days trying to fix what's wrong with them instead of celebrating what's right. It's like having a flashlight in your hand and pointing it at the shadows instead of the light. What would happen if you stopped trying to be someone else and started focusing on the talents, skills, and passions that make you you? That's where the magic begins. Let's face it, the world is obsessed with improvement. Everywhere you look, there are messages telling you to do more, be more, and fix whatever is broken. It's exhausting, isn't it? You start to believe that you're never enough, that you have to hustle and grind just to keep up. But what if I told you that real success doesn't come from fixing yourself? It comes from understanding and amplifying your strengths. It's about stepping fully into who you already are and owning it unapologetically. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who seem to light up every room they enter or achieve incredible things with ease. They're not doing it by trying to be something they're not. They're leaning into what makes them special. They've figured out how to turn their strengths into superpowers, and that's what sets them apart. The good news is, you can do the same. The first step is to truly understand what those strengths are. Understanding your strengths isn't about guessing or making a list of things you're okay at. It's about digging deep and discovering the core qualities that define you. These are the things that make your heart race with excitement, the abilities that others constantly praise you for, and the skills you often take for granted because they feel so natural. You might be an exceptional problem solver, a natural-born leader, or someone who can bring calm to any situation. Whatever your strengths are, they are the key to unlocking your inner genius. But how do you identify your strengths if they feel invisible to you? Start by paying attention to what energizes you. When you're working on something that aligns with your strengths, you'll notice a spark of joy or a sense of ease. It won't feel like drudgery, it'll feel like flow. You'll lose track of time, and the work will feel almost effortless. Those moments are clues. Another way to uncover your strengths is to listen to what others see in you. Sometimes, we're so close to our own brilliance that we don't even recognize it. Ask the people you trust what they think you're naturally good at. You might be surprised by their answers. Maybe they'll mention your knack for connecting with people, your ability to think outside the box, or your gift for storytelling. Hearing these reflections can be eye-opening and incredibly affirming. Once you've identified your strengths, the next step is to own them fully. This can be harder than it sounds, because society often teaches us to downplay our abilities. We're told not to brag, not to stand out too much, and not to make others uncomfortable with our success. But here's the thing, dimming your light doesn't help anyone. In fact, it does the opposite. When you embrace your strengths and use them to their fullest potential, you inspire others to do the same. Your success becomes a beacon for others to find their own. Owning your strengths also means letting go of the need to be good at everything. You don't have to be a jack of all trades to be successful. In fact, trying to do it all often leads to burnout and frustration. Instead, focus on what you do best and let the rest go. Delegate, collaborate, or simply say no to the things that don't align with your strengths. By narrowing your focus, you'll not only achieve more, but also enjoy the process a whole lot more. It's also important to remember that strengths aren't static. They can evolve and grow over time, just like you do. Maybe you've always been great at writing, but now you're discovering a talent for public speaking. Or perhaps your strength in empathy is leading you toward a career in coaching or counseling. Pay attention to these shifts and embrace them. Your inner genius is always evolving, and that's something to celebrate. As you start to align your life with your strengths, you'll notice something amazing. Things will start to feel easier. That's not to say there won't be challenges, but those challenges will feel more like opportunities than obstacles. You'll wake up with a sense of purpose and go to bed feeling fulfilled. And isn't that what we're all striving for? A life that feels meaningful and true to who we are. Chapter 4. The Role of Passion. Passion is the fire that makes life worth living. It's the quiet whisper that says, "This is what I was meant to do," and the roaring energy that propels you forward, even when things feel impossible. Without passion, life can feel like a series of checkboxes on a never-ending to-do list. But when you tap into what truly lights you up, everything changes. Suddenly your days have meaning, your work has purpose, and success doesn't feel like an uphill battle. It feels like a natural extension of who you are. The truth is, passion isn't just a nice to have, it's a necessity. It's the fuel that keeps you going when the road gets rough. It's what helps you push past fear and self-doubt, because your desire to pursue what you love outweighs any obstacle in your path. But here's the thing, most of us don't give ourselves permission to follow our passions. We get so caught up in what we think we should be doing, what's practical, safe, or socially acceptable, that we forget to ask ourselves what we actually want. So let me ask you this, what makes your heart race? What's the one thing you could talk about for hours without getting bored? What's the activity that makes you lose track of time because you're so engrossed in it? These aren't just passing interests, they're clues. They're guiding you toward the things that make you come alive, the things that align with your inner genius. I get it. Following your passion can feel risky. Maybe you've been told that it's not realistic, or that it won't pay the bills. Maybe you've convinced yourself that your dreams are just hobbies, things to be enjoyed on the side, while you focus on real work. But let me tell you something. Passion and practicality aren't mutually exclusive. You can build a life that's both fulfilling and sustainable. It starts with acknowledging what you love and finding ways to weave it into your daily life, even if it's just in small ways at first. One of the biggest mistakes people make is confusing what they love to do with what they think they should do. Society has a funny way of imposing its own version of success on us, convincing us that we need to climb a certain ladder or follow a specific path to be considered successful. But the truth is, success looks different for everyone. For some, it might be building a thriving business. For others, it's creating art, teaching, or simply living a life that feels aligned with their values. The key is to define success on your own terms and let your passion guide you there. When you're passionate about something, it doesn't just motivate you, it energizes you. You start to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You're willing to put in the effort, not because you have to, but because you want to. Passion makes hard work feel less like a chore and more like a choice. And that's the difference between people who are merely surviving and those who are truly thriving. I've met so many people who are stuck in jobs or situations that drain them because they've convinced themselves it's the only option. They've bought into the idea that passion is a luxury, not a necessity. But here's the thing, when you suppress your passions, you're not just denying yourself happiness, you're also denying the world the unique gifts you have to offer. Imagine what could happen if everyone pursued what they loved. The innovation, creativity, and joy that would ripple through the world would be extraordinary. Of course, pursuing your passion doesn't mean it will always be easy. There will be challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But when you're doing something you truly care about, those challenges become part of the journey rather than barriers to success. You'll find ways to overcome them because the thought of giving up feels worse than the effort it takes to push through. If you're not sure what your passion is, don't worry, you're not alone. Discovering what lights you up can take time, especially if you've spent years focusing on what you think you should be doing instead of what you want to do. Start by exploring your interests. Try new things, even if they seem out of your comfort zone. Pay attention to the activities that make you feel energized, excited, or deeply satisfied. And most importantly, be patient with yourself. Passion isn't always a lightning bolt moment. Sometimes it's a slow, steady realization. Once you've identified what you love, the next step is to integrate it into your life. This doesn't mean you have to quit your job tomorrow or make drastic changes overnight. Start small. Dedicate an hour a week to your passion. Find a way to incorporate it into your current work or lifestyle. Over time, those small steps will add up, and you'll begin to see how your passion can become a bigger part of your life. Chapter 5. Overcoming self-doubt. Self-doubt is a thief. It sneaks into your thoughts, steals your confidence, and leaves you questioning everything you're capable of. It's that tiny voice in your head that whispers, "What if I fail?" or "What if I'm not good enough?" Left unchecked, it can paralyze you, holding you back from pursuing your dreams and becoming the person you're meant to be. But here's the thing, self-doubt isn't truth. It's a story you've been telling yourself, and just like any story, it can be rewritten. The first step in overcoming self-doubt is to understand where it comes from. It often starts in childhood, when well-meaning teachers, parents, or peers unintentionally plant seeds of insecurity. Maybe someone told you that you weren't good at math, so you grew up believing you'd never succeed in anything analytical. Or perhaps you failed at something once, and instead of seeing it as a lesson, you internalized it as proof that you're not capable. These experiences stick with us, shaping the way we see ourselves and our abilities. But here's the truth. Those moments don't define you. They're just snapshots in time, not the whole picture. You are so much more than your past mistakes or the opinions of others. The real question isn't whether you're good enough. It's whether you're willing to challenge the stories you've been telling yourself. Because once you do, you'll realize that self-doubt is nothing more than a shadow. It looks intimidating, but it has no substance. One of the most powerful ways to combat self-doubt is to reframe the way you think about failure. Society has conditioned us to see failure as something shameful, something to avoid at all costs. But the truth is, failure is one of the best teachers you'll ever have. It's through failure that you learn resilience, creativity, and problem solving. Every successful person you admire has faced failure at some point. The difference is, they didn't let it stop them. They used it as a stepping stone to grow and improve. When you catch yourself spiraling into self-doubt, pause and ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Often the fear of failure is far worse than the failure itself. Let's say you try something and it doesn't work out. What then? You pick yourself up, learn from the experience, and try again. It's not the end of the world, it's a part of the journey. And more often than not, the worst-case scenario you've imagined is far less likely to happen than you think. Another way to silence self-doubt is to focus on your strengths. Self-doubt thrives when you fixate on your weaknesses, but when you shift your attention to what you're good at, it loses its power. Take a moment to reflect on your accomplishments, big or small. Maybe you're great at connecting with people, solving problems, or staying calm under pressure. Write these strengths down and revisit them whenever self-doubt starts to creep in. Remind yourself of what you've already achieved and what you're capable of. Surrounding yourself with supportive people is also crucial. Self-doubt loves isolation. When you're stuck in your own head, it's easy to spiral into negative thinking. But when you have a network of friends, mentors, or loved ones who believe in you, they can help you see yourself through their eyes. They can remind you of your potential and encourage you to keep going, even when you're tempted to give up. Don't be afraid to lean on them. Asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. It's also important to recognize that self-doubt doesn't disappear overnight. It's a process, and it takes time. Some days you'll feel confident and unstoppable. Other days, the doubt will creep back in. That's okay. The goal isn't to eliminate self-doubt entirely, it's to stop letting it control you. When those negative thoughts arise, acknowledge them without judgment, and then choose to move forward anyway. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's taking action despite it. Visualization can be a powerful tool in this process. Close your eyes and picture yourself succeeding at whatever it is you're doubting. See yourself standing on that stage, nailing that presentation, or completing that project. Feel the pride and joy of accomplishment as if it's already happened. Visualization isn't just wishful thinking, it's a way to train your brain to focus on possibilities rather than limitations. The more vividly you can imagine your success, the more real it will feel, and the more motivated you'll be to make it happen. Chapter 6. Aligning actions with your genius. Every choice you make is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life. Some strokes are bold and purposeful, others hesitant and unsure, but together they create the picture of who you are and where you're headed. What if I told you that aligning your decisions with your unique strengths and inner genius could transform that canvas into a masterpiece? That's the power of living in alignment with who you truly are. So often we make choices based on what others expect of us. We follow paths that seem safe, practical, or popular, even if they don't feel right. Over time, this disconnect builds, leaving us feeling stuck, unfulfilled, or like we're just going through the motions. But life isn't meant to be lived on autopilot. When you start making decisions that align with your inner genius, everything changes. You find clarity, energy, and a sense of purpose that fuels you in ways you never thought possible. The first step is to get clear on what alignment feels like. Think about a time when you felt completely in the zone, when things seemed to flow effortlessly, and you were energized rather than drained by what you were doing. That's alignment. It's when your actions reflect your values, strengths, and passions. It's when you're not just busy, you're effective, focused, and inspired. And the best part, you don't need anyone's permission to start living this way. It's a choice you make, moment by moment. One of the most important areas to align with your inner genius is in your decision-making. Life is full of choices, big and small, and each one has the potential to move you closer to or further from your true path. Start by asking yourself a simple but powerful question. Does this decision feel like me? Does it reflect who I am and what I care about? If the answer is no, it's worth rethinking. Because every time you say yes to something that doesn't align, you're saying no to something that does. Of course, it's not always easy to say no, especially when others have expectations or opinions about what you should do. But here's the truth, you're the one who has to live with the consequences of your choices, not them. You're the one who has to wake up every day and face the life you've built. So why not build a life that feels authentic to you? It takes courage to choose your own path, but the freedom and fulfillment it brings are worth it. When you start aligning your actions with your inner genius, you'll notice something remarkable. Opportunities will start to align with you too. Doors will open that you didn't even know were there. People will come into your life who support and inspire you. It's not magic, it's the result of showing up as your true self and putting your energy into things that matter to you. When you're authentic, you attract authenticity. When you're passionate, you inspire passion in others. And when you're aligned, the world seems to align with you. This doesn't mean the path will always be smooth. There will still be challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But when you're living in alignment, those challenges become easier to face because you're clear on why you're doing what you're doing. You're not just chasing someone else's idea of success, you're creating a life that feels right for you. That sense of purpose is what keeps you going, even when the road gets tough. To live in alignment, you also need to give yourself permission to evolve. Your inner genius isn't static, it grows and changes as you do. What feels right today might not feel right a year from now, and that's okay. The key is to stay connected to yourself, to keep checking in and asking, does this still feel like me? If the answer changes, give yourself the freedom to pivot. Life isn't about sticking to a rigid plan, it's about adapting, learning, and growing as you discover more about who you are. One of the most beautiful things about aligning your actions with your inner genius is the ripple effect it creates. When you're living authentically, you inspire others to do the same. Your courage gives them permission to follow their own paths, to listen to their own inner voices. It's a chain reaction of empowerment, and it starts with you. By choosing to live in alignment, you're not just transforming your own life, you're influencing the world around you in ways you may not even realize. Chapter 7. The Flow State. Have you ever experienced a moment where everything just clicked, where time seemed to disappear, and you were so deeply focused that the world around you faded away? Maybe it was during a creative project, solving a challenging problem, or even playing a sport. That feeling of being completely immersed and effortlessly at your best is something extraordinary. It's not just a rare coincidence. It's a state called flow, and it's one of the most powerful experiences you can tap into for achieving success with ease. Flow is often described as a sense of being in the zone, but it's much deeper than that. It's when your mind and body work together so seamlessly that everything feels almost effortless. You're fully present, completely focused, and performing at a level you didn't even know you were capable of. Athletes chase it, artists live for it, and innovators thrive on it. But here's the secret. Flow isn't just for extraordinary people. It's for anyone who knows how to access it, and that includes you. The beauty of flow is that it doesn't rely on luck or talent. It's a state you can learn to cultivate, and it starts with understanding what triggers it. Flow happens when there's a perfect balance between challenge and skill. If something is too easy, you'll get bored. If it's too difficult, you'll feel overwhelmed. But when the task at hand pushes you just beyond your comfort zone, where you have to stretch yourself a little but still feel capable, that's where the magic happens. Think about a time when you were so absorbed in what you were doing that you forgot to check the clock. Maybe it was painting, coding, writing, or even having a deep conversation with someone who inspired you. Chances are, you were in that sweet spot where the challenge was engaging, but not so daunting that it felt impossible. That's flow. It's not about being perfect or having everything figured out. It's about being fully present in the moment, letting go of distractions, and giving yourself permission to dive in completely. To access flow, one of the most important things you can do is eliminate distractions. We live in a world that constantly pulls at our attention, whether it's notifications, emails, or the endless scroll of social media. But flow requires focus. It requires you to tune out the noise and tune into the task at hand. This might mean setting boundaries, like turning off your phone, or creating a dedicated workspace where you can immerse yourself without interruptions. It might mean carving out time in your day when you're at your most alert and energized. Whatever it takes, protecting your focus is non-negotiable. Another key to unlocking flow is clarity. You need to know exactly what you're trying to achieve and why it matters to you. Ambiguity can be a flow killer because it leaves you unsure of where to direct your energy. Set clear intentions before you begin. Whether it's finishing a chapter of a book, solving a specific problem, or learning a new skill, having a defined goal helps your brain zero in and engage fully. Clarity isn't just about the outcome, it's about understanding the process and trusting that each step brings you closer to where you want to be. One of the most surprising things about flow is how it feels. It's not always a rush of excitement or adrenaline. Often it's a calm, almost meditative state where everything feels just right. You're not overthinking or second-guessing yourself. You're simply doing. That's the power of being fully present. When you stop worrying about the past or the future and focus entirely on the now, you unlock a level of creativity and productivity that's hard to describe but impossible to ignore. Flow also teaches you something profound about effort and ease. We're often told that success requires constant hustle, grinding through challenges, and pushing ourselves to the limit. But flow is a reminder that some of the best work happens when we let go of that struggle and allow ourselves to be guided by our natural abilities and intuition. It's not about forcing things, it's about finding a rhythm that feels natural and letting yourself move with it. That's why flow feels so effortless, even when you're working hard. It's not the absence of effort, it's the alignment of effort with purpose. Chapter 8. Mindsets for Success. When we talk about success, there's something that stands out as one of the most important factors in achieving it: your mindset. It's the lens through which you view everything that happens in your life. The way you think determines how you respond to challenges, how you seize opportunities, and how you deal with failure. So if you want to live a life of effortless success, you need to understand the mindsets that lead to it and how you can cultivate them in your own life. There are two main types of mindsets that will shape the way you experience success: the growth mindset and the fixed mindset. These two mindsets impact everything, from your work ethic to your self-esteem to your overall attitude toward life. Let's break them down and take a close look at how they influence success. A fixed mindset is when you believe your abilities and intelligence are set in stone, something that can't be changed. People with this mindset often feel that they are either good at something or they aren't, and they see failure as a sign that they're just not cut out for whatever they're trying to do. For them, challenges are something to avoid because they can't risk showing their weaknesses. If things get difficult, they might give up or tell themselves that they'll never get any better. On the other hand, a growth mindset is when you believe that your abilities and intelligence can be developed over time. People with this mindset see challenges as opportunities to learn and grow. They don't fear failure because they understand that it's part of the process and that they can always improve. When they struggle, they don't see it as a reflection of their capabilities. They see it as a chance to figure out what works, to try new strategies, and to build resilience. People with a growth mindset embrace hard work and perseverance because they know it will eventually pay off. So why does this matter for success? Well, think about it. If you're someone who believes that your intelligence or abilities are fixed, you're likely going to avoid situations where you might fail, right? You might hesitate to try something new, or you might give up too soon because you don't want to risk proving to yourself that you're not good enough. But if you have a growth mindset, you're more likely to dive into challenges with enthusiasm, knowing that each effort brings you one step closer to where you want to be. You won't see mistakes as setbacks, but rather as valuable feedback that will guide you in the right direction. One of the most powerful things about developing a growth mindset is that it allows you to focus on the process, not just the outcome. Instead of putting all your energy into the end result, whether it's a promotion, a finished project, or some other goal, you'll find joy in the journey itself. You'll become more focused on learning and improvement, which in turn leads to deeper satisfaction and more sustainable success. Now let's talk about how you can cultivate a growth mindset in your own life. It starts with changing the way you think about failure. Many of us are afraid to fail because we see it as a reflection of our worth or abilities. But what if you viewed failure as just a sign that you're on the right track? What if failure wasn't something to avoid, but something to embrace as a necessary step on the road to success? When you start to see failure as feedback, you take away its power to discourage you. Another key part of developing a growth mindset is learning to appreciate the process of growth itself. It's easy to get fixated on goals and outcomes, but success isn't just about getting to the finish line. It's about the steps you take along the way. Every small victory, every lesson learned, every obstacle overcome is a part of your growth. When you stop rushing through life and start embracing the process, you begin to see how much progress you've made, even when you haven't yet reached your ultimate goal. Another important aspect of a growth mindset is the belief that your efforts matter. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't seem to be going your way. You might start to wonder if it's worth all the effort, especially if you don't see immediate results. But the truth is, progress doesn't always show up right away. Sometimes, the most important work is happening behind the scenes, where you're learning, refining, and building the skills you need to succeed. When you cultivate a growth mindset, you believe that every effort counts, even if the results aren't immediately visible. This belief in the power of effort is what keeps you moving forward, even when things get tough. Chapter 9. Creating a supportive environment. The environment we surround ourselves with has a huge impact on how we live, think, and work. Whether we're conscious of it or not, the people we spend time with, the spaces we inhabit, and the energy we allow into our lives shape the direction we take and the success we experience. If you're on a path toward effortless success, one of the most powerful things you can do is create an environment that supports you, not just in terms of your physical space, but also in the relationships you nurture and the overall energy you cultivate around you. Let's start by thinking about the people in your life. Who are you spending most of your time with? Are these people lifting you up, encouraging you to chase your dreams, and challenging you to grow? Or are they draining your energy, filling your mind with doubts, and keeping you stuck in patterns of complacency? The truth is, the people you interact with regularly have a significant impact on your mindset, your confidence, and your motivation. It's not about cutting people out of your life, but it's about being intentional about the company you keep and ensuring that your relationships align with the kind of success you want to achieve. Think about the people who inspire you. These are the individuals who believe in your potential, who offer constructive feedback, and who cheer you on even when things get tough. They see the best in you, even when you might struggle to see it in yourself. These are the people you need more of in your life. Their positivity, belief in your abilities, and support will help propel you forward. On the other hand, you also need to be mindful of those who bring negativity into your life. These might be people who dismiss your goals, tell you what you can't do, or are constantly critical of your ideas. Over time, this kind of energy can wear you down, making it harder to stay motivated and focused on your goals. If these relationships aren't serving you, it's okay to distance yourself, whether that's physically or emotionally. Creating a supportive environment is also about choosing people who encourage growth, not just comfort. You want people around you who are on their own journeys of self-improvement, people who are willing to push themselves out of their comfort zones and who will encourage you to do the same. When you surround yourself with people who are constantly growing, learning, and striving for more, it naturally inspires you to do the same. It's not about competition, it's about creating a circle of support where everyone's growth is celebrated and nurtured. Now let's talk about the spaces you inhabit. The places you spend your time, whether it's your home, your office, or your car, can have a profound effect on your mood and productivity. If you want to cultivate a mindset of success, you need to make sure that the physical spaces around you are conducive to that. It might sound simple, but cluttered, disorganized, or chaotic spaces can leave you feeling overwhelmed, distracted, and drained. On the flip side, spaces that are calm, organized, and filled with positive energy can help you feel focused, inspired, and at peace. Take a moment to think about your surroundings. Is your workspace inviting and organized, or is it filled with distractions? Is your home a place where you feel relaxed and recharged, or does it leave you feeling drained? Making small changes, like decluttering your desk, adding plants to your space, or creating a peaceful corner for relaxation, can have a huge impact on your mental and emotional well-being. Your environment doesn't need to be perfect, but it should be supportive of your goals. A clutter-free space is a reflection of a clutter-free mind, and when you create an environment that feels good, it's easier to focus on what matters most. Another element of a supportive environment is the energy you allow into your life. The media you consume, the conversations you have, and the content you expose yourself to all shape your state of mind. If you're constantly consuming negative news, engaging in toxic conversations, or following people who drain your energy, it's no wonder that you might feel stuck or unmotivated. If you want to create an environment that nurtures your success, you need to be mindful of what you're allowing to influence you. Consider the type of content you engage with. Are you filling your mind with positive, empowering messages that inspire you to take action and improve your life? Or are you inundating yourself with negativity, fear, or self-doubt? The things you read, watch, and listen to have a powerful effect on your mindset. If you want to thrive, make sure that the content you're consuming aligns with the person you're becoming. Follow people who inspire you, read books that challenge your thinking, and listen to podcasts or watch videos that motivate you to grow. Chapter 10. Embracing failure as feedback. Failure. It's a word that often brings with it feelings of fear, shame, and discouragement. But what if we could change the way we see it? What if failure wasn't the end of the road, but simply a step along the journey? What if, instead of running from failure, we could embrace it as a powerful teacher, offering us lessons and insights that will help us get closer to our dreams? The truth is, failure is not something to fear. In fact, it's one of the most essential ingredients in the recipe for success. Every person who has achieved something extraordinary has faced failure, sometimes over and over again. But they didn't let it stop them. They didn't let it define them. Instead, they used failure as a tool for growth, using each setback as an opportunity to learn, adapt, and move closer to their goals. Think about it for a second. When you were learning to walk as a child, did you just give up the first time you fell down? Of course not. You got back up and tried again. And each time you fell, you learned something new. Maybe you learned how to balance your weight a little better, or how to position your feet just right. Every fall was just a small lesson on your way to mastering the art of walking. And now, as an adult, you walk without even thinking about it. But the path to walking was built on hundreds, if not thousands, of tiny failures. The same is true for any endeavor you take on. Whether it's starting a new career, learning a new skill, or pursuing a passion, failure is part of the process. But here's the key: failure only holds you back if you let it. When you choose to view failure as feedback instead of defeat, you begin to shift your perspective. You start to see it not as something that stops you, but as something that pushes you forward. One of the biggest misconceptions we have about failure is that it means we aren't good enough, or that we're not cut out for success. We get caught up in the idea that if we fail, it reflects our worth or ability. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Failure isn't a reflection of who you are. It's a reflection of what you still have to learn. It's a sign that you're trying something new, stretching yourself, and stepping out of your comfort zone. And that's where growth happens. Imagine a world where everyone stopped trying after their first failure. No one would invent anything. No one would start new businesses. No one would write books or create music. The world would be stagnant. It's the very act of trying, failing, and trying again that leads to progress. If you really think about it, failure is one of the most courageous things you can do. It means you're pushing yourself, testing your limits, and going after something that matters to you. So how do we learn to embrace failure? First, we have to change the way we think about it. Instead of seeing failure as a dead end, we need to see it as a detour, a sign that there's a better way to get where we want to go. Every time something doesn't work out, we have an opportunity to ask ourselves, what did I learn from this? How can I improve? What can I do differently next time? The key is not to take it personally or to let it discourage you, but to see it as a learning experience. Each failure gives us valuable information about what works and what doesn't. It gives us the chance to refine our approach, to become better, and to keep going until we get it right. Another way to embrace failure is by shifting our focus from the outcome to the process. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that success is the end goal, but in reality, success is a journey. It's about the growth, the effort, and the lessons along the way. When we place all our focus on the result, we set ourselves up for disappointment, because success doesn't always happen right away. But when we focus on the process, the learning, the refining, the experimenting, we can find fulfillment in every step, even the ones that seem like failures. Let's also talk about the importance of resilience in the face of failure. Resilience is what allows you to bounce back when things don't go as planned. It's what keeps you going even when it feels like you've hit a wall. And while resilience might seem like something that only some people have, the truth is that resilience is a skill that can be developed. It's about building mental toughness and learning how to keep moving forward even when things get tough. The more you fail and keep going, the stronger your resilience becomes. You start to realize that setbacks are just part of the process, and that they don't have the power to stop you unless you let them. Chapter 11. The Power of Intuition. There's a quiet voice inside of you that has been guiding you your entire life, whispering, nudging, sometimes even shouting, but how often do we truly listen to it? That voice, that gut feeling, that deep sense of knowing, this is your intuition. It's the innate wisdom you've always had, the same instinctual force that has helped you make decisions when logic alone didn't seem to cut it. And what if I told you that your intuition is one of the most powerful tools you have at your disposal, one that can lead you to your version of effortless success? We live in a world where we're taught to rely on facts, figures, and outside validation. But here's the thing, not every answer can be found in data or the opinions of others. Sometimes, the most important answers are already inside of us, waiting to be uncovered. The trick is learning how to tap into that inner guidance, trusting it, and using it as a compass to navigate through life. Think about a time in your life when you had a gut feeling about something. Maybe it was a decision you had to make, or a person you felt drawn to, or even a path you felt compelled to follow. And even though you didn't have all the facts, something inside you told you to go for it. Maybe you listened, or maybe you ignored that voice. But in either case, you probably remember how strong that feeling was. The clarity, the certainty, as though it was the truth, even if you couldn't explain it. Now imagine if you had fully trusted that feeling, listened to your intuition at every step, and allowed it to guide you in the direction it was leading. It's likely that the outcome would have been more aligned with your desires, more effortless, and more fulfilling. Intuition doesn't work in the way that logic or reason does. It doesn't rely on step-by-step analysis, and it doesn't always follow a clear, linear path. Instead, it's a knowing that comes from deep within, beyond the noise of your thoughts. And the more you learn to trust and follow it, the more aligned your life becomes with your true purpose. But here's the thing, most of us are disconnected from our intuition. We're so used to relying on external sources of advice, family, friends, the media, that we forget how to listen to our inner voice. In fact, many of us have learned to ignore it, thinking it's too risky or unreliable. We second-guess ourselves, doubt our own instincts, and overanalyze every decision. We've been conditioned to believe that success comes from following a proven formula or doing what everyone else is doing. But here's the truth, your intuition doesn't follow anyone else's blueprint. It's uniquely yours, and it knows exactly what you need in any given moment. So how do you start tapping into your intuition? The first step is to quiet the noise. Life is busy, and our minds are constantly filled with thoughts, worries, and distractions. It can be hard to hear that quiet voice within when there's so much external chatter. But when you take a moment to slow down, to breathe deeply and center yourself, you create the space for your intuition to rise to the surface. Meditation, journaling, or simply sitting in silence for a few minutes each day can help you reconnect with that inner knowing. Another way to strengthen your intuition is by paying attention to your body. Often, our bodies are the first to pick up on something that our minds haven't yet processed. That feeling in your stomach when something doesn't feel right, or that sense of excitement when an opportunity feels aligned with your goals, these are all signals from your intuition. Learning to tune into these physical sensations can help you decipher your inner wisdom. Trust those gut feelings. They're not random or irrational. They're your body's way of signaling to you that something is important, that something is worth paying attention to. Once you start tuning into your intuition, the next step is to practice trusting it. Trusting your intuition doesn't mean acting impulsively or making decisions without considering all the facts. It's about balancing logic with that deeper sense of knowing. It's about recognizing that sometimes the best decision isn't the one that makes the most sense on paper, but the one that feels right in your heart. It's about taking risks, following your instincts, and having faith that you're being guided in the right direction. You might not always get it right on the first try, and that's okay. The more you listen to your intuition, the clearer it becomes. It's like building a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets. And even when you make mistakes, your intuition will continue to guide you. It will teach you through the experiences, helping you fine-tune your ability to discern the right path. Chapter 12. Building Resilience. Resilience isn't something you're born with, it's something you build, one challenge at a time. It's the ability to stand tall when life knocks you down, to keep moving forward even when the path is unclear, and to stay hopeful in the face of adversity. Resilience is what transforms struggles into stepping stones, turning the impossible into the possible, and helping you weather the storms of life. And the best part, no matter where you are in life, no matter what you've been through, resilience is something you can develop. It's a skill that you can cultivate and strengthen, and it's one of the most powerful tools you can possess on your journey to success. The truth is, life will throw obstacles your way. You can't avoid them. You can't control when or where they'll come. But what you can control is how you respond. Will you let setbacks stop you, or will you rise above them? The difference between those who succeed and those who give up isn't that one group faces fewer challenges. It's that the resilient ones choose to keep going, even when things get tough. Building resilience starts with understanding that failure and difficulty are inevitable. There's no way around it. At some point, you're going to face disappointments, losses, or moments when things just don't go your way. That's part of being human. But the key to resilience is knowing that these challenges don't define you. They don't have to be the end of the story. They're just moments in time, temporary experiences that can teach you valuable lessons if you choose to learn from them. It's easy to let those tough times define you, to get caught up in the weight of everything going wrong. But the people who bounce back, who emerge stronger after facing setbacks, are the ones who understand that those tough moments don't last forever. Think about a time when something didn't go the way you planned. Maybe you faced a rejection, a failure, or a personal setback. It hurt, right? But as time passed, you probably found that you came out of it a little wiser, a little stronger. You learned things about yourself that you wouldn't have known had you not faced that challenge. And that's the power of resilience. It allows you to turn pain into growth. Resilience isn't about being unaffected by life's difficulties. It's not about pretending that everything is always okay, even when it's not. It's about how you react, how you cope, and how you bounce back. It's about accepting that tough times will come and choosing to believe that you have the strength to face them. It's about trusting that no matter how hard things get, you can and will get through it. That belief in your own strength is at the heart of resilience. One of the first steps in building resilience is developing a mindset that views challenges as opportunities. It's easy to look at a setback and think, "This is it. I can't go on." But what if, instead of seeing it as the end of the road, you saw it as an opportunity to grow? What if you asked yourself, "What can I learn from this? How can I use this to become stronger or smarter?" When you shift your perspective like this, challenges no longer feel like walls blocking your progress. They become stepping stones that lead you forward. Let's say you've recently faced a failure. Maybe you launched a project, and it didn't work out the way you had hoped. The immediate reaction is often to feel discouraged or defeated. But the resilient person asks, "What didn't work? Why didn't it work? And what can I do differently next time?" It's not about beating yourself up for making a mistake. It's about using that mistake as valuable feedback. Every failure contains within it a lesson, a clue about what needs to change or how you need to grow. That's how resilient people move forward. They don't see failure as something to fear or avoid. They see it as something that teaches them and pushes them to improve. Another key aspect of resilience is learning to manage your emotions during difficult times. It's easy to get swept up in feelings of frustration, anger, or sadness when things aren't going your way. But emotional resilience is about acknowledging those feelings without letting them control you. It's about giving yourself permission to feel the disappointment, but not allowing it to paralyze you or keep you stuck. When you can regulate your emotions and keep a level head, you're better able to think clearly and make decisions that will move you forward. Chapter 13. The Art of Goal Setting. The idea of setting goals is nothing new. In fact, it's something we've all heard about 1,000 times, whether in books, motivational speeches, or even just casual conversations. But here's the truth. Goal setting is more than just a buzzword or a nice idea. It's a powerful tool that can turn your dreams into tangible achievements, your abstract desires into clear, actionable plans. It's not just about making a list of things you want to accomplish. It's about creating a roadmap that guides you through life's challenges and pushes you toward what you truly want. Goal setting isn't just about checking items off a list. It's about aligning your actions with your deeper purpose, your inner genius, and your personal values. It's about creating a life that feels purposeful and fulfilling. Yet so many people set goals that don't truly resonate with them. They focus on goals that sound good in theory, or goals that they think they should pursue because of what society expects. But these goals don't tap into their true potential. The result? They feel disconnected, unmotivated, and often give up long before they've reached their desired destination. If you want to set goals that are meaningful and that will lead you to effortless success, you first need to start by asking yourself some important questions. What do you truly want out of life? What drives you? What gets you excited to wake up in the morning and start your day? The answers to these questions are the foundation of goal setting. If your goals aren't aligned with your passions, your values, and your sense of purpose, they won't inspire you in the long run. The next step is to understand that not all goals are created equal. There are two main types of goals: traditional outcome-based goals and intuitive process-based goals. Traditional goals focus on the end result, getting the promotion, winning the award, or reaching a specific financial target. These are the kinds of goals that are often pushed on us by external forces, by society, or by the expectations of others. While these goals can be motivating in their own way, they can also be hollow if they aren't connected to something deeper within you. On the other hand, intuitive, process-based goals are all about the journey. These goals focus on the process of growth, learning, and self-improvement. They allow you to embrace the experience rather than obsess over the outcome. The focus is on who you're becoming in the process, not just what you're achieving. These types of goals are often more fulfilling because they connect you to your deeper desires, values, and inner genius. They allow you to grow as a person, not just to reach a destination. When you're setting goals, it's important to ask yourself, are my goals based on what others think I should want, or are they aligned with my own vision for my life? It's easy to fall into the trap of setting goals because they're what society expects. You know the ones that sound good on paper but leave you feeling drained and unfulfilled. These are the goals that don't spark excitement or passion in your heart. They're the ones that feel more like obligations than opportunities for growth. So how do you make sure you're setting the right kind of goals? It starts with listening to yourself. Take the time to reflect on your life, your values, and your passions. What would your life look like if you were fully aligned with your inner genius? What kind of work would you be doing? What kind of relationships would you be nurturing? What kind of lifestyle would you be living? Once you have a clearer vision of what truly matters to you, your goals will start to take shape naturally. They won't feel forced or disconnected. They'll feel like the next natural step in the journey of your life. It's also important to recognize that your goals should be flexible. Life is unpredictable. There will be changes, challenges, and detours along the way. And that's okay. The key is to remain adaptable. If something isn't working, it's okay to adjust your goals. If you find a new passion or purpose along the way, don't be afraid to pivot. Flexibility isn't a sign of failure. It's a sign of growth. It's about being open to new possibilities and staying true to what feels right for you, even as life evolves. When you're setting your goals, it's helpful to break them down into smaller, manageable steps. Big goals can feel overwhelming, but when you break them down into bite-sized pieces, they become much more achievable. Instead of focusing on the big picture all at once, think about the small actions you can take each day that will bring you closer to your ultimate goal. This makes the process feel less daunting and gives you a sense of accomplishment along the way. Chapter 14. Creativity and Innovation. Imagine for a moment that you are standing at the edge of a vast, open landscape, one that is full of potential, yet untouched. This landscape represents your mind, your creativity, and your ability to innovate. The possibilities are endless, and everything around you is waiting for you to create something new, something that has never been seen or experienced before. Now, take a deep breath and realize that this vast, untapped landscape is not out there somewhere, it is within you. The power to create, to innovate, to shape the world in your own unique way lies in the very fabric of your being. Creativity is often misunderstood. People think of it as something reserved only for artists, musicians, or inventors, but the truth is, creativity is a fundamental part of being human. It is our natural ability to make connections, to see things from a different perspective, and to find solutions that others might overlook. And when we tap into this creative potential, something incredible happens. We not only change our own lives, but we can also change the world around us. But here's the catch. Creativity isn't something that just magically appears when we need it. It's something that needs to be nurtured, cultivated, and brought to the surface. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that creativity is a gift that only a select few are born with. And sure, some people may seem to have a natural flair for creativity, but that doesn't mean the rest of us are excluded from the creative process. Creativity is something that can be developed with practice, patience, and a willingness to step outside of your comfort zone. The first step in unlocking your creativity is understanding that creativity doesn't have to be an all-or-nothing thing. It doesn't have to come in bursts of brilliance or strokes of genius. In fact, the most successful innovators didn't wait for the perfect moment of inspiration to strike. They created the conditions for their creativity to flow. They showed up, day after day, and put in the work. They understood that creativity is a process, not a one-time event. And the more they worked at it, the more they cultivated their creative abilities. So, how do you begin to tap into your own creativity and innovation? The first thing you need to do is let go of the idea that there's a right way to be creative. Society often pressures us to conform, to follow the rules, and to stay within the lines. But creativity thrives when we challenge those boundaries and break free from the constraints of conventional thinking. Innovation happens when we look at something familiar and ask, what if I tried something completely different? What if I approached this problem from an entirely new angle? The key to creativity is curiosity, a willingness to ask questions and explore new possibilities without worrying about being wrong. One of the most powerful ways to cultivate creativity is by surrounding yourself with diverse perspectives and experiences. When you expose yourself to new ideas, different cultures, and different ways of thinking, you begin to see the world in a whole new light. Your brain starts making connections it didn't make before, and you begin to view problems and challenges from different angles. Innovation thrives in environments where ideas can collide and intersect, where people are encouraged to think outside the box and to bring their unique perspectives to the table. Another essential element in the creative process is embracing failure. Yes, you heard that right. Failure. It's hard to overstate just how important failure is to creativity and innovation. The truth is, every successful innovator has faced setbacks, challenges, and moments of doubt. But instead of seeing failure as something to avoid, they viewed it as a stepping stone toward success. Every failure is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to refine your ideas. If you're afraid to fail, you'll never take the risks that lead to breakthroughs. So give yourself permission to fail, and when you do, embrace the lessons it brings. There's also a powerful connection between creativity and flow, the state of mind where you are fully immersed in an activity, losing track of time, and feeling a sense of effortless focus. When you enter the flow state, your mind is free to explore ideas without distraction. It's a place where your creativity can flourish and where new solutions seem to appear effortlessly. The key to entering flow is removing distractions, setting aside perfectionism, and allowing yourself to be fully present in the moment. When you let go of the pressure to get everything just right, and instead focus on the process itself, that's when creativity has room to blossom. Chapter 15. Enhancing relationships and collaboration. Relationships are everything. Whether it's with your family, friends, colleagues, or even strangers you meet along the way, your success is deeply intertwined with how you connect with others. But here's something we often forget. True success isn't just about what you know or how hard you work. It's about the people you surround yourself with, the relationships you nurture, and the collaborations you embrace. In fact, the most successful people in the world didn't get there alone. They built their empires with the help, support, and guidance of others. If you've ever felt like you're not quite making the progress you want in your personal or professional life, it might be time to take a closer look at the relationships in your life. Are they supporting your growth, or are they holding you back? Are you fostering an environment where collaboration can thrive, or are you keeping things too closed off to allow new ideas to flourish? The truth is, no one can do it all on their own. Success isn't a solo mission, it's a team effort. The sooner you realize that the people around you can either elevate you or drag you down, the better. Relationships are a two-way street, and the most powerful connections are built on trust, respect, and genuine support. But these kinds of relationships don't happen overnight. They require effort, time, and a willingness to be vulnerable. You can't just show up when it's convenient for you and expect people to always have your back. You have to give as much as you get. This isn't just about networking or finding people who can help you achieve your goals. It's about creating meaningful bonds with others that uplift everyone involved. Now, let's take a moment to reflect on the relationships that are currently in your life. How do they make you feel? Do they inspire you, challenge you, and push you to become better? Or do they drain you, keep you stuck in old patterns, and prevent you from moving forward? There's no judgment here, but being honest with yourself about the relationships that serve you and those that don't is crucial. And here's the thing, you have the power to change the dynamic of any relationship in your life. It's not always easy, but it's always possible. Sometimes, the first step is to let go of relationships that are toxic or unproductive. You don't need to keep people around just because they've been in your life for a long time or because you feel obligated. If someone is consistently bringing negativity into your world, it's okay to set boundaries or even walk away. It's not about being selfish, it's about protecting your energy, your peace, and your vision for the future. By removing yourself from relationships that drain you, you create space for new, healthier connections that can actually propel you forward. At the same time, it's important to actively cultivate relationships that nurture and inspire you. This might mean reaching out to people who share your passions, values, or goals. Or maybe it's about reconnecting with an old friend or mentor who has always supported you. The key here is to be intentional with your relationships. Invest time and energy into the people who genuinely want to see you succeed, and don't be afraid to show up for them in the same way. Life is a cycle of give and take, and when you approach relationships with an open heart and a willingness to contribute, you'll find that they tend to come back to you in ways you never expected. When it comes to collaboration, the magic happens when different minds come together to solve a problem, create something new, or push each other to think in innovative ways. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that collaboration is only for big companies or organizations, but in reality, collaboration is something you can apply in your everyday life. Whether it's with a colleague at work, a friend on a personal project, or even within your family, collaborating allows you to tap into the collective strengths of those around you. It's about recognizing that everyone has something valuable to offer, and when you combine your efforts, you can achieve more than you ever could on your own. Here's the thing about collaboration, it doesn't always come easy. People have different working styles, different priorities, and different perspectives. But when you approach collaboration with respect and an open mind, the process becomes much more productive and enjoyable. Collaboration isn't about forcing your ideas onto others or trying to control the outcome. It's about listening, sharing, and finding common ground. The best collaborations are built on trust and mutual respect, where everyone feels heard and valued. This is where true innovation happens, when people come together not just to work, but to create something greater than the sum of its parts. Chapter 16. Time Management Reimagined. Time, in many ways, feels like a constant struggle. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, yet somehow it often feels like there's never enough time to get everything done. If you've ever caught yourself thinking, there's just not enough time, you're not alone. It's something almost all of us have experienced at some point. But what if I told you that time management, as most people think about it, isn't the real solution to this problem? What if the key to feeling like you have more time isn't about managing your time differently, but about understanding and aligning your actions with your inner genius? The truth is, when we talk about time management, we often focus on squeezing every last drop of productivity out of each minute, filling every slot in our calendar, making sure there's no empty space, and measuring success by how much we can get done. But in reality, this approach can be exhausting. It can lead to burnout and frustration, and it can steal the joy out of the work we're doing. Time isn't just about packing your day full of tasks. It's about aligning what you're doing with your values, your strengths, and the things that truly matter. When you do that, you'll not only get more done, you'll do it with more energy, more focus, and a greater sense of fulfillment. The key is understanding that time management isn't about controlling time. It's about controlling your energy. When you focus on what matters most and work in a way that aligns with your natural strengths and rhythms, time becomes less of an enemy and more of a tool to help you create the life you want. This is where your inner genius comes in. You don't need to force yourself into a rigid time management system that doesn't fit with your life or your goals. Instead, you can create a flow that works for you, one that honors your energy levels, your passions, and your sense of purpose. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle, the constant push to do more, be more, and achieve more. But the reality is, not all tasks are created equal. Some of the things you spend your time on are not contributing to your overall success. In fact, many of them might be draining your energy and distracting you from what truly matters. The first step in reimagining your approach to time is identifying where you're spending your time, and more importantly, whether those activities are moving you closer to your goals or simply filling space. It's about being intentional with your time. So ask yourself, what do you want to create in your life? What kind of work do you want to do? And how do you want to spend your days? Once you have clarity on these questions, you can start to make conscious decisions about where you invest your time. It's about identifying the tasks, people, and activities that energize you versus the ones that drain you. Your time is precious, and you deserve to spend it in ways that nourish your body, mind, and spirit. To do this, it's essential to understand your natural energy patterns. For example, are you someone who is naturally more focused and productive in the mornings, or do you feel more creative and energized in the evenings? If you're a morning person, then it makes sense to tackle your most important, challenging tasks first thing in the day when your energy is high. Conversely, if you tend to feel more alert later in the day, use that time for deep work or creative thinking. Understanding when you're at your best allows you to structure your day around your peak energy levels and focus on the things that matter most. It's also important to recognize that you can't do everything yourself. No one can, and that's okay. Asking for help, delegating tasks, and leaning on your support network are all essential components of time management. Your time is valuable, and you shouldn't spend it on tasks that don't align with your strengths or goals. This might mean letting go of some things that are taking up space in your life. It might mean saying no to certain commitments, turning down opportunities that aren't in alignment with your vision, or even outsourcing work that someone else can do better than you. When you start to prioritize the activities that truly matter, you free up time and energy for the things that really move the needle in your life. Chapter 17. Mindfulness and Presence. It's easy to get caught up in the rush of life, to be constantly planning for the next thing or worrying about what's coming next. We live in a world where our attention is pulled in a million different directions at once, and it's easy to lose sight of what's right in front of us. But here's the thing, True success, true fulfillment, doesn't come from just running on autopilot, constantly chasing after the next goal or checking off the next item on your to-do list. It comes from being present, right here and right now. It comes from truly being in the moment and experiencing the fullness of life as it unfolds. Mindfulness is the practice of bringing your full attention to the present moment. It's about being aware of your thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment or distraction. And when you practice mindfulness, you begin to see the world around you with a sense of clarity and focus that was previously hidden behind the noise of everyday life. In a sense, mindfulness is like taking off a foggy pair of glasses and finally seeing the world with clear eyes. But here's where it gets interesting. Mindfulness isn't just about sitting quietly and meditating, though that can be a part of it. It's about infusing every moment of your life with presence and awareness. Whether you're working, spending time with loved ones, or even doing something as simple as eating a meal, mindfulness is about fully engaging with the experience and being there mentally, emotionally, and physically. It's about being aware of what's happening in the moment, without getting lost in the past or future. You might be thinking, that sounds nice, but how can I be mindful with everything I have to do? I get it. Life is busy. We all have a million things on our plates, and it can feel overwhelming at times. But the beauty of mindfulness is that it doesn't require you to add more tasks to your day. Instead, it's about shifting your mindset and your approach to the tasks you already have. It's about bringing your full attention to whatever you're doing, no matter how small or mundane it may seem. Imagine being fully present while you work, instead of letting your mind wander to the next meeting or the task that's still waiting for you. Picture yourself engaging with your loved ones without distractions, really listening and connecting with them on a deeper level. What would it feel like to truly savor each bite of food, noticing the textures, the flavors, the smells, and feeling gratitude for the nourishment it provides? That's the power of mindfulness. It allows you to engage fully with your life, to appreciate the small moments, and to experience life in a richer, more meaningful way. Mindfulness isn't just a way to improve the quality of your life. It also has the power to enhance your work, creativity, and overall well-being. When you're fully present, you're more focused, more productive, and more efficient. You're able to make decisions with clarity and precision because you're not bogged down by distractions or stress. Your mind becomes clear, and you're able to tap into your inner genius, accessing creative ideas and solutions that you might have missed if you were operating on autopilot. But the benefits of mindfulness go beyond work and productivity. When you practice mindfulness, you become more attuned to your emotions and your body. You become better at noticing when you're feeling stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed, which allows you to take proactive steps to address those feelings before they spiral out of control. Mindfulness helps you build emotional resilience, making it easier to handle challenges and setbacks with grace and composure. It's also a tool for personal growth. As you practice mindfulness, you begin to develop a deeper understanding of yourself, your thoughts, your patterns, your triggers, and your desires. You become more aware of the stories you tell yourself, the beliefs you hold, and the ways in which you may be limiting yourself. This awareness is the first step toward change. By simply noticing what's happening in your mind and your body, you open the door to transformation. You can choose to let go of old patterns, change your thinking, and make choices that align with your true desires and goals. But like anything worth pursuing, mindfulness takes practice. It's not something that happens overnight, and it's not something you can expect to master immediately. It's a lifelong journey of learning how to stay present, how to quiet your mind, and how to embrace each moment as it comes. And that's the beauty of it. It's a journey, not a destination. You'll never arrive at mindfulness because there's always room for growth and improvement. The key is to keep practicing, to keep showing up, and to keep cultivating that sense of presence in your life. Chapter 18. Sustaining Effortless Success. We all have moments in life where everything seems to be falling into place. Things are flowing effortlessly, and it feels like success is within our grasp, like we're on a roll and nothing can stop us. But then something shifts. The momentum slows down. We hit a rough patch, and suddenly the effortless success we were experiencing feels like a distant memory. The truth is, sustaining success is one of the greatest challenges we face. It's easy to achieve something great, but keeping that greatness alive over time, without burning out, losing motivation, or falling off course, that's where the real work begins. It's not just about working hard or pushing yourself to the limit. It's about finding balance, staying true to your inner genius, and continuing to grow while protecting your well-being. When we think about success, we often envision a linear path, a straight line from where we are to where we want to be. But in reality, the journey is rarely that simple. Success isn't just about reaching a destination. It's about the process, the ongoing commitment to growth, and the ability to handle setbacks along the way. That's why sustaining success requires a deeper understanding of what truly matters to you, and the willingness to adjust your approach as you evolve. To sustain success without burning out, you have to remember that your journey is not a sprint. It's a marathon, and the pace you set will make all the difference in the long run. Think about a time when you've pushed yourself too hard. Maybe you worked tirelessly on a project, sacrificed sleep, and ignored your physical or emotional needs in the name of success. While you may have reached your goal in the short term, how did you feel afterward? Were you exhausted, burnt out, maybe even resentful of the very success you worked so hard to achieve? Sustaining effortless success means learning how to work smarter, not harder. It's about understanding that you don't have to grind yourself down to reach your goals. In fact, when you're operating from a place of balance and alignment, success doesn't feel like hard work. It feels natural, easy, and sustainable. When you're doing what you love, when you're aligned with your inner genius, the work doesn't drain you. Instead, it fuels you. One of the keys to sustaining success is the ability to adapt. The world is constantly changing, and so are you. What worked for you in the past might not work as well in the future. As you grow and evolve, your needs, desires, and priorities will shift. To sustain success, you have to be willing to embrace change and adjust your approach as needed. This could mean revisiting your goals, changing your daily routines, or even redefining your definition of success. What brought you here may not be what gets you to the next level. This is where the power of self-awareness comes in. The more in tune you are with yourself, your needs, your limits, your values, the better equipped you'll be to sustain success without burning out. Self-awareness allows you to recognize when you need to take a step back, when you need rest, and when it's time to push forward. It's about knowing when to hustle and when to slow down, and having the wisdom to make those decisions without feeling guilty. Another important factor in sustaining effortless success is the practice of self-care. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that success is all about what you do, how much you accomplish, how many hours you put in, how many goals you hit. But success isn't just about external achievement, it's about your internal well-being. If you neglect your physical, emotional, or mental health, eventually that lack of balance will catch up with you. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you want to sustain success, you have to take care of yourself first. This doesn't mean you have to spend hours every day meditating or working out, though if you can, that's great. Self-care looks different for everyone. For some, it might be taking a walk in nature to clear your mind. For others, it might be setting boundaries to protect your time and energy. It could mean taking a break from technology, practicing gratitude, or simply getting enough sleep. The key is to find what replenishes you and make it a regular part of your routine. It's also important to remember that success is not a solo journey. The relationships you build with others play a crucial role in sustaining your success. When you surround yourself with people who support, encourage, and inspire you, it becomes easier to maintain motivation and stay on track. This doesn't mean you need a huge social circle, but having a few key relationships that nourish you can make a world of difference. Chapter 19. Real-life success stories. Have you ever heard someone's story and thought, if they can do it, maybe I can too? It's a powerful feeling, isn't it? When you hear how someone overcame obstacles, pushed through tough times, and ultimately succeeded, something inside of you shifts. It sparks hope and possibility. You start to believe that if they can make it, you can too. And that's exactly why success stories matter. They remind us that the road to success isn't reserved for a select few. It's for anyone willing to put in the work, make the right choices, and stay committed to their path. I want to share with you some real-life success stories. Stories of individuals who faced setbacks, doubts, and even failures, but they found a way to turn their circumstances around. Their stories are powerful because they show us that success isn't just about talent or luck. It's about resilience, determination, and the willingness to keep going, even when it seems impossible. Take Sarah, for example. She was a small-town girl who dreamed of becoming a writer, but for years she struggled. She wrote constantly, but her work was always rejected. Every time she submitted a piece, she received a no in return. It was discouraging. Sarah began to doubt herself. She wondered if she'd ever be good enough, or if her dream of becoming a successful author was just that, a dream. But she didn't give up. Instead of quitting, Sarah decided to keep writing, keep improving, and keep submitting her work. She studied the craft, sought feedback, and persisted, even when things felt hopeless. Eventually, one of her submissions was accepted. Not only was it published, but it was also well received. That one success led to others. Today, Sarah is a best-selling author, living her dream, and it all started with a decision to keep going. Now think about David. He was an entrepreneur with big ambitions, but he started his first business at a time when the economy was struggling. His idea was solid, but he didn't have the right support, and things didn't go as planned. His business failed, the bills piled up, and the weight of disappointment felt unbearable. David could have walked away, given up, and let failure define him. But instead he took a step back, reassessed, and learned from his mistakes. He used the lessons he'd gained from that failure to start a new business, one that was better aligned with his strengths and passions. And this time, he succeeded. David now runs a thriving business that serves thousands of customers, and his story is a testament to the power of learning from failure instead of being defeated by it. Then there's Emma, a young woman who had always been told that she wasn't cut out for leadership. She was quiet, introverted, and didn't fit the stereotypical image of a CEO. But Emma had a vision. She knew she had something unique to offer, something that could make a difference. So she started small. She gathered a team of like-minded people who believed in her vision. They worked together, built something from the ground up, and today, Emma leads a company that is making a real impact in the world. Emma's success didn't come from trying to be someone else. It came from embracing who she truly was and leading from a place of authenticity. Each of these individuals faced their own unique challenges. They had their moments of doubt and frustration. They faced rejection, failure, and uncertainty. But what set them apart wasn't their circumstances. It was their ability to persevere. They chose to keep going, to trust in their abilities, and to believe in the possibility of success. They found strength in their setbacks, lessons in their failures, and wisdom in their struggles. These stories are not extraordinary because the people in them were somehow destined for greatness. They're extraordinary because these individuals decided to keep going when things got tough. They made the conscious choice to take their challenges and turn them into opportunities for growth. They weren't afraid to fail. They knew that every no brought them closer to a yes. Every setback was just another step on the path to success. The thing about success is that it's rarely achieved on a straight, easy path. The road to greatness is often winding and full of bumps. But that's exactly why success feels so rewarding when you finally reach it. The hard work, the sacrifice, the learning, and the growth all make the achievement that much sweeter. And what's even more powerful is knowing that, along the way, you gain something far more valuable than a tangible result. You gain self-confidence, resilience, and an understanding of your own inner genius. Chapter 20. Your Journey to Effortless Success. The truth is, success doesn't just happen, it's something you create. Every step you take, every choice you make, is building the foundation for your future. It's easy to think of success as something that's only achieved after years of hard work, or as something that's handed to certain people. But the reality is far more empowering. Success is a result of daily decisions, habits, and the mindset you cultivate along the way. It's a journey, not a destination, and it's a journey that you have the power to shape. I want you to pause for a moment and think about where you are right now in your life. Where do you want to be? What does success look like for you? Maybe it's a career goal, a personal aspiration, or a dream you've been nurturing for years. No matter what your vision of success is, I want you to know that it is within your reach. You have everything inside of you that you need to achieve it. What might seem like a distant dream is closer than you think, and the path to making it a reality is one step at a time. The key to reaching that success is understanding that it's not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's not about hoping that everything will fall into place. It's about making decisions and taking actions that align with who you truly are, with your inner genius. If you're going to build the life and success you desire, you must commit to showing up every day, no matter how small the step, no matter how challenging the task. The important thing is that you're moving forward. The simple act of moving forward, of doing something each day toward your goal, sets the momentum in motion. As we've discussed throughout this book, it all begins with a deep understanding of yourself. You've discovered your inner genius, learned to trust your strengths, and embraced your passions. You've faced challenges, reframed your mindset, and learned to view failure as feedback. And now, as you continue on this journey, I want you to remember this: the path to effortless success is not about rushing toward the finish line. It's about aligning your daily actions with your genius and staying true to the person you're meant to become. I understand that at times the road may feel long, or you might even feel unsure about the next steps. That's completely normal. In fact, uncertainty is often a sign that you're pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, and growth only happens in that space. The discomfort you may be feeling is not a barrier to success. It's a sign of transformation. The person who will achieve your dreams isn't the person you are today, it's the person you are becoming. And that person is shaped through every decision you make, every challenge you overcome, and every lesson you learn along the way. Now I want you to think about the vision you have for your life. Visualize yourself in the place where you want to be, whether it's a career milestone, a personal achievement, or a state of being that feels like success to you. Picture yourself standing there, having reached your goal. How does it feel? How do you walk? How do you talk? What does the world around you look like? Notice the emotions that come up for you when you picture this success. Hold on to that feeling, because that feeling is a powerful motivator. It's what will push you through the moments of doubt, the challenges, and the obstacles. The clearer your vision, the more real it becomes. And the more real it becomes, the more likely you are to take the steps needed to make it a reality. This is where your action plan comes in. I want you to create a plan for the next steps in your journey. Break down your larger vision into smaller, more manageable goals. These goals should align with your genius, with what you're passionate about, and with your unique strengths. Don't try to follow someone else's path or compare your progress to anyone else's. Your journey is yours alone. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that there's a right way to do things, but the truth is, the right way is the one that feels authentic to you. Your plan doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be something you can commit to. Start small. Maybe it's dedicating just 10 minutes a day to something that will bring you closer to your goal, whether it's learning a new skill, networking with the right people, or working on your craft. The most important thing is consistency. Keep showing up for yourself, even when it feels like progress is slow. Progress is still progress, no matter how small.